All right. Episode 114. I would say, without a doubt, for me personally, this is one of my favorite episodes of Dragon Ball Super. This is also one of the best looking episodes of Dragon Ball Super. Now, it would be asking a lot, but oh my god, if every episode could look like this, a lot of the whining that we hear in the community would go away, because episode 114 was beautiful start to finish. Now, a lot of people have a lot of problems with this episode, specifically the end. Though I guess we'll we'll discuss that once we get there. But I mean, I've already given it away. I love this episode. There's a lot of good stuff here. In terms of bad stuff, I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of it. Y'all can roast me if you want to, but right now, Dragon Ball Super is doing everything right for me in my eyes. I am won over. All right, so let's get to it. Episode 114, Intimidating Passion, the birth of a new Super Warrior. It's funny. We were all wondering, well, the title, Birth of a New Super Warrior. This action figure. What is this, action figure they're teasing with a question mark? There's a new fighter coming to the tournament? Oh boy, is there ever. Now, the beginning of this episode, right, kind of has a scene which has me scratching my head in terms of wondering if people are actually, are people watching Dragon Ball Super, with subtitles? I know a lot of people will watch, the streams or whatever when the episode first airs, but I feel as though a lot of people don't then, follow up, and find out what exactly everything was being said, because I sense that a lot of these scenes that happen kind of fly over people's heads, and a lot of the complaints that I'm seeing would be answered if you would just, pay attention to what's going on screen. So, what I'm talking about specifically, the episode opens up with Kale obviously going into her Berserker transformation, right? And she's powering up, and a few things happen, right? We see Vegeta and Toppo are fighting, and they sense that, Kale is powering up. And it's interesting because Toppo is like, oh shit, those Saiyans, you can't underestimate them. And of course, Vegeta does that bullshit. He always pointing that thumb at himself. He loves to fucking do that, because he did that when he fought Cell. He did that right before he fought Goku Black. He does it here. That is the Vegeta go-to, pointing the thumb at himself and saying, I stand at the top, motherfucker. Only 5 minutes later for him to get dicked down. Now, that hasn't happened here. Personally, I was thinking that Toppo might hand Vegeta the business, but we still haven't really seen much of that fight. But at the same time, I do really like that it's happening in the background, because at any given point, it's they could move the camera over and we'll see Vegeta and Toppo fighting. And it's obviously, those are two of the top, I don't know, they have to be two of the top 10 in the tournament, right? I mean, exactly where Toppo and Vegeta fit compared to fighters like Frieza, Toppo, Goku, Jiren, and this new fighter, they're all somewhere in there. Obviously, Jiren probably at the top, Goku too. I don't know, maybe the Ultra Instinct, when Goku takes it again, he'll be one. Who knows? Now, Kale finishes her little transformation, and KEFLA is super excited, oh, Kale, you are the fucking greatest. You're so strong. And she grabs Kale's hand and is yeah, we could do it together. And Kale kind of pushes KEFLA down and creates a little crater, she's pushed into the ground. And KEFLA's kind of fighting back, and it's obvious Kale is not capable of controlling her power. Again, she's completely torn apart, by her Berserker rage or whatever. Now, KEFLA starts, this scene right here was very good. And KEFLA begins talking to Kale, having a heartfelt moment with her, basically explaining that Kale means something to her, that KEFLA thinks Kale is amazing, and acknowledging that Kale is indeed worthy of being KEFLA's protege, and KEFLA also acknowledges that she's not going to be able to beat Goku without Kale, and that if they unite their strength, they'll be the strongest in all of the universes. And she keeps going and is really I don't know, having a moment with Kale, calling her her best friend and all of this stuff. And we see, like, it's, I don't know, it's filmed in such a way, kind of like from Kale's perspective. Like just the way it's kind of like, you know, I guess I say film, but kind of like the storyboarding, you know, the way the camera's moving and stuff. I thought it was a very good scene, and it was kind of touching and humanizes KEFLA and Kale a lot for me. Like, when people are complaining so much about, you know, like, listen, we want to touch on the sexist issue with KEFLA and Kale. I mean, it's there. Like, people don't say, like, oh, hit, that fucking whore, how is he able to fight Goku? But, you know, I've got people in my mentions and the comments saying, you know, if it wasn't for these fucking whores, get off the screen and we'll have, you know, Goku fight a real opponent. It's like, you know, Kale and KEFLA are, like, getting more development than Hit, Jiren. A lot of these other people who, you know, people are like, oh my god, Hit is the coolest. It's like Hit is fighting and he grunts and people are like, oh my god, Hit, have my babies. Like, that's how people are acting. And here we get like an actual touching moment with Kale and KEFLA. Like something that's like building towards something. People are like, get these bitches off my screen. I ain't got time for this feeling shit. It's like, yo, come on, man. This was a good scene. I like this a lot. This made me like Kale and KEFLA a hell of a lot more. So after Kale hears all of this, she kind of like just like reverts, you know, kind of like to like her Super Saiyan look, like the same way she was looking in the last episode. Like, and we see like kind of the various you know, people in the stands talking. Like, Krillin mentions, like, oh, shit, she's not Berserk anymore. But Tien makes a very astute, like, point for us, is that Kale's energy has increased massively after this little pseudo-transformation she does. So, from this point on, KEFLA and Kale, they start fighting Goku again. But this time, like, they're using, like, these cool combination attacks. And they're actually, I mean, I guess they're winning. You could kind of say they're winning. Because, like, there's a point where Kale kind of shoots blasts at Goku and he jumps up, and then like right there KEFLA's like, I got you, bitch, and Goku looks up and KEFLA is, you know, racing towards him. Like, they're attacking in unison, you know, utilizing their powers well. And one thing about this episode that, okay, I feel like it is getting to the point where maybe some people won't like it, but a lot of the callbacks to early Dragon Ball Z and stuff, I have no problems with all that stuff. Just as long as it's not really like they don't bring the episode to a screeching halt to be like, hey, remember when this happened back in episode, you know, 93 of Dragon Ball? Do ya? Because here we go. It feels natural to me. It does. Like they're kind of pushing the reference in there, but they're not stopping everything and turning to look at us in the audience and being like, hey, you like this, huh? But as KEFLA is running at Goku, flying at Goku, Goku's like, oh, sorry, Tenshin, I'm gonna have to borrow your attack. Hits her with the Teioken, or, you know, the solar flare as it's called in the English dub, and causes KEFLA to fly headfirst into a mountain. Kale gets really pissed off, and it's great because she's like, oh, Goku, you motherfucker, you know, sis was about to hit you. You shouldn't have dodged that, you bastard. Like, I did really like that. And Kale just keeps pushing Goku, like, through mountains and stuff. And Kale actually pushes Goku right into an area where Frieza's kind of just shooting random laser beams. What's funny is I remember Ken Zyro a while back, like, we're talking like months back, put up a meme. It was like a dancing gorilla or something, and then there was like an effect of like Frieza's death beams going all over the place, and Ken Zyro was like how Frieza will be in the Tournament of Power, and then like this scene is literally Frieza just shooting death beams in all directions, and I even saw Ken on Twitter be like, oh, they actually made my meme a reality. But one interesting thing we do see here is Dispo is actually standing nearby and says, I can't deal with this guy. So presumably, Frieza is a lot stronger than Dispo, because when Dispo says this, obviously Frieza, I was going to say Frieza's in his base form, but yeah, I mean, his final form is basically his base form, because Frieza's transformations, you know, because his first form, second, third, fourth, his final form, like, the transformations were developed by him to suppress his power, right? Isn't that the way it was? So, I mean, I guess you could call final form Frieza his base form. It kind of is now, but I'll just call him his final form, otherwise it's confusing. I feel like it's already confusing anyway. Whatever. So, a new fighter that we haven't really gotten much of a look at, KEFLA. He is a policeman from Universe 3, and I guess he has some sort of like robotic suit. Very clearly, he is here for some sort of comedy relief. And like he starts to transform his suit, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna enter speed modo," and like he's like doing all these shenanigans. And at that moment, that's when Kale continues mushing Goku through like the boulders and rocks and into this dude, stopping his transformation. That did make me laugh quite a bit. Now, after this, we get a very good scene where Frieza is, like, kind of aggressive in wanting to fight KEFLA and Kale, and Goku basically steps in and says, "Nah, motherfucker, first come, first served, I'm fighting the two Saiyan girls," and Frieza's like, "All right, well, in that case, I will just watch here from above," because I was thinking, like, okay, so after Goku says this, Frieza does not, like, up and leave and go fight someone else, like, Frieza stays to watch the fight between Goku and Kale and KEFLA. So that leads me to believe that at some point Frieza might become involved in the fight to support Goku, I guess. I don't know. There's also a part where Goku kind of, is telling Frieza, like, I'm gonna fight, and he turns his back to Frieza, and Frieza starts to charge of a death beam, and Goku kind of looks back and is like, I'll handle this one, and Frieza's like, okay. Like, so I do like how there's just these little moments where it's like, oh, there Frieza go, oh, there he go again, about to kill Goku from behind, Frieza, you dirty boy. And it's funny, the policeman from Universe 3, he jumps back up and is like, all right, Frieza, here we go. And he enters into his speed mode and is like, chase after me. And he like moves so fast he teleports. And it's great. It's a meme that I've seen a lot now where Frieza just goes, I'll ignore that, and turns around. That was a good comedy moment right there. So after that is done, KEFLA and Kale go back to fighting Goku. And at this point, they more or less are really getting the upper hand on Goku, I would say. Again, combination attacks. Like, Kale at one point holds Goku down, and KEFLA is kind of, body shot to the body, to the body, to the body, to the head. Like, just kind of, catching Goku with a ton of blows. And so Goku finally is like, all right, that's enough of this. And he kicks it up to Super Saiyan God at this point. Now, this is also something I was talking about before, guys, in that Dragon Ball Super, for the most part, has very much downplayed Super Saiyan 3, right? To like, the point where, like, when Goku was going through all the forms against Jiren, he skipped it. Here we go. Like, Goku took Super Saiyan 3 for a split second against Kale and KEFLA, but he wasn't, like, actively fighting with it. And now here, he's going straight from Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan God to do battle with Kale and KEFLA. So, that really, they literally could not have, like, shouted it to us any louder that Kale and KEFLA are gonna get Super Saiyan 3, and this is just more evidence as, like, again, Super Saiyan 3 constantly being downplayed, but then, like, just out of nowhere, just in the context of, like, KEFLA, it's like, oh, Super Saiyan 3, you gotta get the Super Saiyan 3, and it's like, I wonder why all of a sudden they're pushing Super Saiyan 3 so hard. We'll probably find out very soon. So Goku, continuing his trend in this episode to use every other shonen character ever's attacks, he seemingly kind of uses a little bit of the spirit gun. He shoots like, again, literally, it's like he's shooting like a yellow version of the spirit gun, from Yusuke Urameshi right out of Yu Yu Hakusho. Really enjoyed that. Now, the girls are able to dodge, and like they start jumping in trying to do their combo attacks on Goku again. But now that he's up to Super Saiyan God, he is just giving them the business. And at one point, like, KEFLA is able to kind of, like, trip him a little bit. And, like, he spins around to go hit KEFLA. And then Kale hits Goku point blank with a gigantic blast. And then here they did another callback where, kind of like, remember Broly going through Goku's Kamehameha? Then Kale going through Goku's Kamehameha? Well, now Goku just goes right through her beam and just sneaks the hell out of Kale. After this, Kale and KEFLA both shoot a blast from both ends at Goku, and he just shoots out two energy balls that completely nullify KEFLA and Kale's attacks. Now, the blast goes at Kale, and she's able to deflect it up into the air, but KEFLA starts dodging around, and Goku is actually controlling the attack, and it's, spinning all over the place following KEFLA. Now, I did not really see this at first, but I did see some people after the episode on Twitter talking about how it's almost like Goku was using Yamcha's Spirit Ball. And, like, I do kind of see it, like, the way he was gesturing with his hands. A little different, but very, very similar. I mean, obviously, Goku did see Yamcha use it, so that's what this could have been. Then we look at all the other homages they did to previous episodes, all the other attacks of other fighters that Goku was using in this episode, and it could very well have been the Spirit Ball. Now, KEFLA is not able to dodge it, and she gets tagged, and it hurts her bad enough that Kale has to fly in and catch her, and they're right near the edge of the ring. Goku shows up, and he says, y'all are real strong, but your endgame needs work. I'm going to have to go ahead and win now. I really would like to fight you again after the Tournament of Power is over. Again, signifying that he does indeed, know what Vegeta wants to do with his wish. So Goku charges a Kamehameha to finish KEFLA and Kale off. Now, at this point, KEFLA goes, all right, Kale, we're the strongest in the universe if we pair together, right? And Kale's like, yeah, for sure. So KEFLA's like, all right, take out that thing we got before the tournament. Goku fires the Kamehameha. The camera kind of pans out as Goku's blast is hitting the edge of the ring, and we see the two little green lights, something we saw very similar in Dragon Ball Super when Goku Black and Zamasu fused, and also when Goku and Vegeta fused. And out from basically the explosion and the ashes, we see the green light, the explosion, and she flies out. The fusion of KEFLA and KEFLA. I've seen some people like Herms and them on Twitter saying KEFLA is more of probably how it's supposed to be, like KAFLA instead of KEFLA. I mean, KEFLA, I think it's pretty similar. Like, it's not really that big of a deal. But so she shows up, right? And we do see a little flashback. Kabe actually has a flashback of Champa giving the girls the Potara earrings before the tournament started and kind of explaining to them that they're very powerful. And we actually see that the Universe 6 Kaioshin states that he was one who gave Champa the earrings. So now, Kale and KEFLA have become one with the Potara fusion, which, again, like, I'm not a power scaler. All right, so I'm not going to get into shit too deep. But again, I just want to toss, like, base things out, right? Like, so KEFLA, she begins to work Super Saiyan God Goku here. Like, Goku is getting bodied. And in Dragon Ball Z, right, Buu Saga characters, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a 400 times, like, Super Saiyan 3 is a 400 times multiplier from base. It was stated that Vegito in his base form was stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So bare minimum, the Potara fusion for Vegito is above 400 times, right? Now, I have heard a lot of people state that, the Potara fusion is not going to be the same in every case. Like, it's not always going to be that high of a multiplier. It's going to be determined by, which characters are fusion, or which characters are fusing. Now, I would venture to say that KEFLA, she might not be as good of a fusion as Vegito, but I would say she's probably more in that realm than, say, Kibito and, Kaioshin, right? Like, I think KEFLA is probably going to have that above 400 times multiplier rocking here. Again, I'm not saying she's, like, if Goku and Vegeta were even strength with KEFLA and Kale and they both fuse, like, I'm not saying KEFLA would be as strong as Vegito. I'm just saying that KEFLA and Kale were doing pretty good. And now, all of a sudden, they get this gigantic, insane multiplier, which is only going to go up even more once KEFLA starts going various forms of Super Saiyan. Presumably, she might hit Super Saiyan 3 as well. So it's not shocking to me when she is just destroying Super Saiyan God Goku. Now, people are losing their shit about this, saying, horrible writing, poor writing, Dragon Ball Super sucks. And I'm like, let's just, let's chill. Let's at least see her fight for longer than a minute or 30 seconds before we start talking about how bullshit it is. Now, the one thing I do have to point out, though, is Vados makes a statement. She says, the new body and personality born from a Potara fusion are more than the sum of their parts, and their power increases tens of times. Now, if we're to take that literally, it makes zero fucking sense. So, like, again, they specifically pointed out in the last episode that the angels do not say something and it's like, that is law. That is exactly how it is, because Vados is underselling KEFLA a hell of a lot if we're going to say her fusion is tens of times I actually did see Set the Programmer did a video on this and was pointing out how just because Vados says tens of times, that doesn't necessarily mean she's talking about between like 10 times to 90 times. Like, she could literally be talking about hundreds of times. It's just the wording that Vados chooses to use. So don't get stuck up on that, because people have lost their fucking shit with this line. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about, fam. Like, one line like this is easily, like, basically disregarded. Like, Vados, like, again, she just used poor wording here, because there's no way that, KEFLA is like a 70 times multiplier or some shit. Like, she's 70 times stronger. Not if she's gonna be giving Goku the ass beating that I think is coming to him. Now, KEFLA is shown to be incredibly cocky. As she powers up, she's kind of like, she goes like super fast at Goku, and she like finishes in this pose, like not really a Ginyu Force or, Gohan type pose, but, she's just kind of toying around, showing how cocky she is, saying she has unbelievable power. We see a shot where Vegeta senses her and is shocked, and then gets hit by Toppo because he's not paying attention. But obviously, KEFLA is ridiculously insane, and the episode does end there, basically with KEFLA getting a couple shots on Goku, tossing him around like a ragdoll. So overall, this episode was very good. I think Kale and KEFLA fusing is a fantastic idea, and people fucking complain left and right when they say, how could people fight? Goku and Vegeta can't be touched, there's no tension. Then they create scenarios in which there's fighters on the level of Goku and Vegeta, and people fucking bitch about that too. It's like, yo, let's just chill and watch, son. Like, this is cool. A fusion, a Potara fusion. If you think a Potara fusion of two prodigy Saiyans is not strong enough to fight Goku, I don't know what the hell to tell you, because KEFLA makes a ton of sense to me. Now, one last thing I should mention, of course, is I think I glossed over it, but when Kale was powering up at the beginning of the episode and, like, Vegeta and Toppo sense it, we do see Jiren meditating as well, and like his finger kind of like moves, it twitches and kind of slips, like, he's forming that little like like hand sign, like he's forming his gang sign there while meditating, and he kind of like breaks that for a second while Kale is powering up. This episode basically ends with a shot showing Jiren still meditating, and I mean, presuming what's coming up, I do think we will see Jiren stir pretty soon, so I did just want to throw that out there. All in all, though, I really like this episode a lot, and I'm definitely looking forward to this next episode.